Welcome to the Launch and Landing channel. My name is Adrian. This video is about Fiesch and Bellwald, one of the most popular paragliding areas in Switzerland. Excellent thermals and high cloud bases allow long distance flights in a stunning scenery. Looking at the area, on the Fiesch side there is the main landing site and the launch sites Heimat, Kühboden and Galfera. Around Bellwald we find Mutti and Steibenkreuz takeoffs, as well as two more landing sites. In this video I'll be covering Fiesch and in the next episode Bellwald. From the main landing area it's only a 5 minutes walk to get to the cable car station. From here it takes another 10 minutes to reach the launching areas. The first takeoff from the cable car top station is Lower Heimat. After a 10 minutes walk from the cable car top station, we reach the launch site. Here I'm now at the Lower Heimat takeoff, which is the main takeoff here in Fiesch. The southeast facing area is located on an altitude of 2,142 meters. The height difference to the landing is 1,100 meters. All important information about the flying area can be found on an information board. The area may be full of pilots, but it is large enough to accommodate everyone. The pilots then spread out very quickly in the air, so normally it doesn't get crowded. Now it was my turn to get out. Since the terrain is not very steep, I had to start running quickly. After a few meters in the air, I reached the eastern ridge, where there is usually reliable thermal activity. From here it's normally possible to start thermaling up to Eggishorn, the highest peak around. Here we can see the side profile of the relatively flat launch site. And here one final area overview. The height difference from the lower to the upper Heimat takeoff is just about 100 meters. Starting from the cable car top station there is a pass to each of the two launch sites. This is now the upper Heimat takeoff. The area is much smaller and steeper compared to the lower takeoff. Same time, it's normally less crowded. Comparable to the lower takeoff, the terrain is also facing southeast on an altitude of 2,238 meters. Here we can see it from the air on the way to Eggishorn. The landing area in Fiesch is basically directly below the two Heimat takeoffs. This here is the main landing at Fiesch. It was a turn point at the Red Bull X Alps competition. The size of the landing site is about 50 to 100 meters. The altitude is 1058 meters. It is just behind these buildings here. So in the strong wind, there can be also some turbulences. Besides the road and the campsite next to the landing, the railroad in front of it is considered a major obstacle. Here I am just above the railroad and in front of the campsite, approaching the downwind leg. The landing area is to the left-hand side. Getting in against the upwind from the valley is the normal situation in the morning and the early afternoon. Caution is advised on the southwestern edge of the area in strong winds, as the valley wind can then be washed over the slope. At time of visit, the wind changed and there was always a strong wind in the afternoon down the valley. This could already happen as soon as 2 p.m. in the afternoon. There are different factors that can influence the wind at the landing area, such as different valley wind systems around or the downhill wind from the glaciers. Here we can see a pilot in big trouble trying to land in these conditions. In case of strong northerly winds or strong southerly winds, the landing area is totally not advised, and also busy wind situations should be considered. The good thing about the landing area, there's a bar at the paragliding school next to it. And for the camping enthusiasts, the campsite is directly accessible. Back up on the mountain, let's discuss the remaining takeoff areas. So down there we can see the takeoff called Kühboden. It is on an altitude of 2,200 meters. Kühboden actually has 2 takeoff sites. This takeoff is the only really steep one up here and therefore very often used by hang gliders. While the right one is for the hang gliders, the left one is for the paragliders, especially used by tandem pilots. Wind directions from southeast to east are ideal for launching. The height difference to the landing area is about 1,130 meters. I really consider Kühboden as an alternative to Heimat if Heimat is too crowded with visiting pilots. Kühboden is also much closer to the cable car top stations compared to the 2 Heimat takeoffs, which we can see here in the distance. A final view to Kühboden from the air before we move on to Galfera, the last destination of this video. It is about a 10 minutes walk from the cable car. The takeoff is on an altitude of 2,160 meters. This is the only launch site up here, which also allows to get out to the southwest, as the terrain is good for wind directions from southwest to southeast. So this takeoff might be a good choice in the afternoon. It is much less frequented than the Heimat takeoffs, and you can get out easily here without any trouble from other pilots around. takeoff area is not too steep. It is a bit bumpy and has a lot of stones in between, but actually to me it seems as if it's one of the easy takeoff options. This is it from Fiesch. The next video will show the opposite side of the valley, Bellwald, from where you can fly into the upper Valais.